In a small, peaceful town called Elkwood, nestled somewhere in the heart of Oregon, life moved slow and steady. Elkwood's population was modest, crime was rare, and the townsfolk trusted their local police station like family. That trust, however, would soon be shattered. A new officer had just been transferred in from Portland. Detective Rachel Monroe, a fiercely dedicated, sharp-minded, and emotionally guarded woman in her mid-30s. The first thing Rachel did after arriving was inspect the station, determined to bring order and efficiency to the sleepy outpost. During her tour, Rachel wandered into the storage archives, brushing dust off decades-old files. She sifted through forgotten case folders until suddenly a thick file labeled Case 176 toppled from the top shelf and hit the floor with a thud. Rachel reached down, opened the worn folder, and froze. Inside was the photograph of a young girl, wide-eyed, bright-smiled. It was Lena Carter, her childhood best friend, the same girl who had mysteriously gone missing when they were just 13. Rachel hadn't heard her name in 20 years, but now here she was, staring back at her from a cold case file, labeled Homicide, Unsolved. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the documents. Cause of death, unknown. Killer, never identified. Case closed. A sudden chill passed through her, as though something had shifted in the room. Rachel made a promise under her breath. "I'll get justice for you, Lena. I swear it." Rachel called Lena's mother, now elderly and frail. Her voice cracked over the phone. "They said she just disappeared. We never even had a funeral." "She didn't just disappear," Rachel replied. "She was murdered, and I'm reopening the case." Rachel gathered the officers at the station, but no one had heard of Case 176. It predated all of them. The file only mentioned one location, Mercy General Hospital, now a charred, abandoned ruin on the outskirts of town, 13 miles from the station. She and a deputy drove out that night. The skeletal frame of the hospital loomed against the dusk sky, its windows shattered like jagged teeth. The building had burned down in 2001, taking several lives with it. Officially, it had been deemed an accident, but nothing about Lena's case felt accidental now. They walked through the crumbling halls, ashes crunching under their boots. On the second floor, where Lena's body was reportedly found, the air turned inexplicably cold. Rachel felt a pressure in her chest, like the building was holding its breath. Back in town, Rachel dug through local records and learned that Lena had once visited the hospital for a science project, guided by her older sister, a nurse who used to work there. But there was no employee record for either girl, no patient records. It was as if they'd never existed in the building at all. Desperate, Rachel filed a special petition to meet the former hospital owner, now living in Los Angeles. His name, Vincent Hale, a healthcare mogul turned billionaire. Getting access to him was nearly impossible, but Rachel wasn't one to wait around. She tracked down his number and sent him a message that read, "I know what happened to Lena Carter. Meet me, or I'll make it public." She didn't expect it to work, but Vincent agreed. Their meeting took place in a high-rise penthouse. Rachel watched his body language closely. His hands fidgeted. He offered her hush money. This was decades ago. Just let it rest. That confirmed everything. But Rachel had no evidence, no weapon, no witness. She couldn't touch him, yet. Returning to Oregon, she received an anonymous call. A raspy voice whispered, "Look beneath the east stairwell. There's a basement chamber." She gathered a forensic team and returned to Mercy General at dawn. They broke through the collapsed debris and discovered a sealed underground vault untouched by the fire. Inside was a labyrinth of metal cabinets, cameras, and unlabeled drives. A horrific truth unfolded. Vincent Hale had been running an illegal voyeur ring, using hidden cameras in patient rooms and changing areas. Videos were sold in black market circles. Nurses, interns, even patients, recorded without consent. His staff helped him. And when Lena discovered one of the hidden cameras in the nurses' locker room, she confronted them, and they silenced her. The last video showed Lena looking directly into a camera, her face twisted in fear. Then, darkness. The footage ended. Rachel collapsed to her knees. Her friend had died alone, terrified and betrayed. But Rachel didn't break. She gathered the evidence, knowing full well that the corruption ran deep into high-level law enforcement and politicians who had helped Vincent escape justice. She couldn't trust internal channels, so she leaked everything. Within hours, the footage went viral. Headlines exploded. Whistleblowers came forward. Survivors shared stories. And Vincent Hale, arrested at LAX before he could board his private jet, his accounts frozen, his empire destroyed. Weeks later, Rachel sat in her office, alone. Rain tapped gently on the window. Justice had been served. The world finally knew what had happened to Lena. She looked down at her desk to write her final report, when suddenly, the pen beside her lifted on its own, scribbling across a blank sheet of paper. She watched, frozen, as the words appeared. "Thank you, Rachel. Lena." A single tear rolled down Rachel's cheek. Somewhere in that ruined hospital, a trapped soul had finally found peace. Still watching, but not subscribed? A lot of effort goes into making these videos. When you subscribe and share, it keeps me motivated to create more. So please, make sure to subscribe.